Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Parenting Young Adults with Kimm and Torra. I'm Kim,
I'm Torah.
and we're so delighted that you're joining us today and that we have the opportunity to share with you during our very first
Very
podcast.
first. We're both excited. This is something I know for a fact that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and talking to you and finding out that you wanted to do it too, it's just a perfect timing for both of us, I think.
I think so too. And I'm hoping that through the course of doing this podcast, we will both learn more about parenting young adults, be able to share information with our audience, and hear back from our audience about what kinds of things are they doing that are working, what kinds of challenges are they facing, and how we can all work through them so that everything is great for both us and our young adults.
I truly agree. I have so many questions I want to ask, and so many answers that I'm looking forward from different people to just tell me their ideas, because there is no cookie cutter way to raise children, and especially young adult children. I mean, I thought it was, fun in the beginning, and then as they get older, I felt like that it just gets tougher. I'm quite sure I hear from a lot of people that says, "Oh, it'll get easier. Oh, they'll come back and it'll get easier." But I'm like, okay, I'm waiting on that part, but I haven't seen that part yet.
Right.
So, do you have any like specific topics that you really think like just will jump out at, the audience, something that everybody's like, a question that everybody's been wanting to ask? Like, for me, my main question, I want to know, is it easier raising kids alone? Because I did do that for a period of time. I had a son that I had at a very young age, and I raised him all by myself. And then I got into a relationship and got married, and then I had someone there to support me and help me. But there's two different type of parentings. One where you have someone's input, and one where you don't. And I'm always interested in, how does that work for someone else? Because I have my own opinion on that.
I think that's interesting because I am divorced. So initially I was married and then I had two children and we raised them together. And then, of course, once we split, then I took primary custody. So I do have that sense of together and alone too. So maybe we just talk about our experiences. What do you think the key differences were in terms of you doing it first alone and then with the spouse?
Well, I do know that when I was raising my son alone, what I said was the end all be all. If I said no, you couldn't go, there was no one coming in giving me their opinion about why they should go. Or if I said you couldn't have something, there was no one opinion in saying, well, I'm going to buy it for him or give it to him anyway. And when you have that, it's like to me, it's like a tug of war in parenting. And I found it more difficult for me to compromise because I wasn't used to that. It was like, no, I said no. And I said no because I thought that was the right thing to say at the time. But then you hear someone else's opinion, and the the opinion changes the whole perspective. Like, well, I did have a son that I was raising by myself. So bringing a man into the house and having him to teach my son manly things or boy things was different from what I was used to. It's like, no, he wants to go to a dance and he wants to dress nice and he wants to buy something nice to look nice for some girls. I couldn't wrap my mind around this. Like, no, he can wear what he has in the closet. I'm not gonna spend extra money on that. But he could understand that, being as though he was a man and he had been through this or gone through this already in his life. So that perspective was good, but also it was like biting at my parenting. I didn't like that too much, but I had to learn to deal with it. But I didn't like it at all. I didn't.
Okay. For me, I think that because I was with my spouse when the children were younger, that was very, very beneficial because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have full responsibility for, when your kids are really young, there are just so many things you have to do from
Mm-hmm.
bathing to dressing to carting them here and there. So I did have assistance with that, and I felt that that was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we split, I guess that I can't really say I did it all alone because he was
Mm-hmm.
really involved in their lives, but he wasn't in our household on a
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day basis. And so I did have the opportunity to make very many decisions, by myself. This is the way it's going to be. And that's
Mm-hmm.
that. But when you were talking, I thought there were some times when, okay, they went to his home every weekend or every other weekend, depending on what the
Mm-hmm.
case was. He may have been doing things that I wouldn't agree with, and vice versa. And so,
I remember
being
that.
the type of parent, the type of woman that I am, which I think is a more alpha female, I
Mm-hmm.
will call him up and, hey, what's going on with this and that? But we got through it. But I would agree with
Mm-hmm.
you. It's certainly easier when you're making all the
Yep.
decisions. It's your way and no other way,
Oh
versus
yeah.
having to take into account somebody else's position.
Do you also feel that like children have like psychology, like almost they can say, well, daddy let me do it, or mommy let me do it, or this is the way mommy does it, this is the way daddy does it. And that's like that psychology of, I think kids know, not necessarily trying to pit you against each other, but almost like when it's done the way they want it, they gear to that parents. So if dad lets them have junk food all day and I don't, because maybe I don't know, for whatever reason he doesn't mind, but I do, that's more so of what we're going to be more happier with. The kids are more so like, I'd rather be with dad, or I'd rather listen to dad because he kind of does it the way we want it done, versus the way a mother or another parent, the alpha parent, would do. Because I feel like I'm the alpha parent. I feel like I'm the one that, I'm not trying to compete with them. I don't need to be your friend. I'm your parent, and you do as I say, and you do it because I'm the parent. And I felt like he was more so of the, I'm working all the time. I'm not really around. So when I am, I don't want any controversy with them. I just want to love them. And he only sees them as angels. It's like, nah, they got some things that go on when you're not home. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? They do some things when you're not around that has got my blood boiling. Don't come around acting like they're angels.
Right.
And it's hard for the absent parent to see that, the guilty parent to see that. Not saying guilty as in a bad way, but guilty because they're doing what they got to do in life to provide. So they're not there for the hardcore stuff that I feel like most mothers, or the person that plays the role as the mother, has to endure with children. So for me, I want to know, like, how do you say, okay, listen, I've just corrected them, but you're rewarding them. How do you get to that point where they come back from dad's house? Because my son would come back from his father's house in a different mind frame than my house was ran under. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. He'd walk out the door at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night at like 11 years old. And I'm like, where you going? Yeah. And he was like, well, at dad's house, I can hang out front and tell, like, I'm like, really? We don't do that here.
See,
Not.
I'm a little crazy because at that point I'd be calling dad up saying, oh, no, that's not safe. But we didn't really have that. And I think a part of
Mm-hmm.
it is because the bulk of their time they spent at my home.
Okay.
So if you're here, there was a period where he only got them every Sunday. Then there
Mm-hmm.
was a period of every other weekend.
Okay.
And there may have been a period, there certainly was a period of every weekend, but even at every weekend, you're spending
Mm-hmm.
a good 5 days at my house and only 2 days there.
Okay.
So the bulk of the training was coming from my end. And
Okay.
then everybody in my family knows not to be trying to set me up against their dad,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
that's going to backfire on you,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to call him and say, look, we need to get on a page. So if you find that he is being more lenient,
Mm-hmm.
the better thing to do is run with that. Don't come back trying to tell me about it, because next thing you know, he won't be doing it either. But he
And see, that
does.
takes two, right? Don't you agree that that's when he's supportive of your parenting and not trying to trump your parenting or trample over your parenting with, oh, that might be the way you do it over there, but when he comes over here, I'm daddy of the year, so I'm gonna let him do what he wants, and I'm gonna do what I want. See, I think that's perfect parenting as a couple, because
But
I
see,
didn't get that.
I did
I
get
got
some of
the
that too.
opposite.
It just wasn't so vocal. And then now that they're older and we talk about it, I would
Mhm.
hear, oh, well, I felt they needed more leniency or
See what I mean?
whatever. So things may have happened that I didn't necessarily know about, but they knew
Mhm.
when they came here, it wasn't going down. And because they turned out okay, I'm all right.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it could have gone left because
Yeah,
children need structure and rules. You do need leniency, but they need structure and rules in order.
I agree. And I say that all the time. I get crucified for saying it. I'm like, I believe in my heart, kids don't want to run wild. And if they do, they feel like they're free falling and they can't grasp all the trauma that's in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
that's another thing I wanted to touch on. Like, we are raising children under a magnifying glass. Everyone looks at them, everyone can see them, everyone can see us. That is so hard. That is so hard, parenting children that can see what just about everybody in the world can perceive their self as doing. Like, I don't believe all of it, that every kid has a glamorous life and wearing the finest of jewelry and everything they put on the internet to make
Right.
life so. I'm just not buying into it, but they buy into it. These kids are buying into, and I need this, I need that, I need to look like this. We didn't have that problem.
Right.
You
We
know,
had a
we
much
were
more
growing up.
local environment. Now
Right.
it's national and to some extent even global that
Global.
they're watching. I think that your girls are a lot more into that than my children are. I know
Hmm.
they're as much into social media, but
Hmm.
they don't really bring that to me. They
Hmm.
will
Hmm.
tell, my daughter will certainly let me know that such and such got a Mercedes G-Wagon for her
Right.
for her
Right. Right.
16th
Right.
birthday, but
And
we
then
know
you
we're
say,
not getting that.
yeah,
So,
you say that to say what now?
well, I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that is so phenomenal that
Hmm.
her parents feel that that's appropriate for her at this stage. But what we're gonna do is have that car you share with your brother.
Right.
But they don't really come back to me so much and say such and such is doing or
Hmm.
got this. But
Hmm.
I mean, I do think that's a consideration. I do
Hmm.
think that's a
And
concern.
I'm in the know. Like, I make it my habit to, probably more than normal, to be in the know because I'm so afraid of losing touch.
Mm,
I felt like my I was pretty much raised by my grandparents and a little of my parents, but more so I got the structure from my grandparents, and they were not in touch. Like, I remember the time I said to my grandmother, "Oh, Mama, you're so crazy," and she was livid with me. "Don't you ever use that word?" I was like, "What did I say?" She didn't speak to me all day. I was like, "What did I say wrong?" And I didn't know, in her era, the word crazy was like one of the worst words to call someone because it was during the I don't know if you ever heard of Crownsville State Hospital.
in
It's in a
Maryland?
yeah, it was a
Oh,
mental
okay, yeah, I'm
institution,
not. It's a psychiatric institution.
psychiatric
Oh,
institution,
okay.
and it was brutal. And a lot of Black people of Annapolis were victims of it. So to just say the word crazy meant you could be headed there.
Oh,
And
wow.
I never knew the burden that put on that generation. So when I found out that that's something that hurt her, I always kept inside of me if I ever had children. And this was before I even had my son, and I had him at a very young age. I knew to always want to be in the know. So if he said anything to me, I wouldn't take it to heart because I was out of touch. Now I am a victim because my daughters do say things to me, and I'm just like, Google, what does it mean? Google, what does that mean? Because I am out of touch some, but I try to be in the know to know certain slang, certain things that the kids have or they're doing, like drug terms. I didn't even have a clue some of the things they were saying. I was just like, what does that even mean? You don't know what that means? We don't know what that. I'm like, no, like, when did you all change the word, to something as simple as weed to what y'all call it today? Like, how do you get this? I mean,
Mhm.
I didn't know, and so my thing is after I just pride myself. Well, I don't pride myself, but I definitely drill myself on trying to stay in the know as they grow. Like, I know at some point in time they're gonna outgrow me. I feel it coming, but I know for now I just want to stay in tune because this internet world that we're raising them in is bad. It's really bad,
It has the
and
potential to be really bad. Yeah.
you can't correct them the way we were corrected because if you do, you get slammed if they mention it. And you're like, well, why should I care? Because it can make or break you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a cancel culture. And you're like, how do you cancel your parents? They do that. You know, if you look, and there's so many kids that go to the internet and say blast their parents for doing stuff, and you're like, your job, you know what I mean, your business, whatever is affected because of this cancel culture that can even be in your own household. And I am so like protective of my family, but I also have to know that they have a life of their own. And I'm not used to that. I'm not used to them going out and not answering their phone or not having their location on. That to me has been the pit of our family's downfall. That they're like, I'm grown, but I'm still acting like a kid. You know what I mean? Like I still pay for them. I still buy them. I still feed them, but I'm grown. And it's like, well, what part is grown? Because grown to me means you're out on your own, you're paying your own bills, you're taking care of yourself, and you're not getting any help from parents. Maybe help as far as like here and there. So I'm lost. You
I
know, I'm
think they're
lost when it comes to.
grown-ish. I think they're grown-ish. I think a number of things on what you said. I was raised by my grandmother as well.
Mm-hmm.
She was certainly out of touch on a lot of things, which allowed me to do whatever because she wasn't aware.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when my children were younger, I did try to be more in touch, but I now at this stage am more of a hands-off parent. They're in college. You're in college, you're doing well, you've done what you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do. As long as there are no major mess ups, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty much hands off. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm not as on top of everything as I could be because I just got a TikTok account. I'm not on Snapchat. I mean, I do IG
Mm-hmm.
pretty hard and YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
but so I know I'm not as up to par as I need to be on
Mm-hmm.
some of that, but I think that now the bulk of the raising has been done and it's up to them to implement the things that I've taught them. Come to
Mm-hmm.
me if you find yourself in a pinch,
Mm-hmm.
something's going wrong, you need my help. I'm also here just to chat, but I try to, take my hands off a little bit and let them have more leeway. And as long as everything's okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel the need to intervene as much. And in terms of how we parent,
Mm-hmm.
I am not overly influenced by the internet. I'm not aware, but it
Mm-hmm.
depends on what your kids are doing. I'm not aware of my kids posting about me on
Mm-hmm.
the internet when situations
Mm-hmm.
arise, and that would change it if they were doing that. But they don't,
Mm-hmm.
to my knowledge, do that. Back when they were younger, if I
Oh,
felt
I got it bad when they were younger.
See, if I felt that you needed to be punished, or I mean, I didn't actually physically whip my kids
Mm-hmm.
unless they were really young, and I would say, if you do that, you're gonna get 2 licks with the belt. If you do
Mm-hmm.
that, if you
And
don't
to me,
stop.
that's a spanking. That's not even a whooping. I feel like we were whipped. I feel like
I
our kids.
wasn't whipped. My grandmother did. I was the only child of the spoiled girl. She didn't whip me, and
See,
so
grandparents didn't whip me, but my mother did. My mother
all my
whipped us.
parents
So
did.
that's why I know the difference between a beating, a whooping, and a spanking. And a spanking to me, you don't even remember.
Yeah, I did the little spanking thing, and then once they were older, I did the "I'm taking your phone," which is
Oh
really
yeah.
terror, or "You're
That's
going to
torturous for
your
us, right? When we
room."
took the phone, when we took the phones, that was torturous for us. That was like, oh, what
No, because they were still young. I'd be like, "I'm taking that phone," or "You're going to your room," or "You can't go here or there." Now, I'm not really sure. Maybe you wouldn't be able to use. You can't use the car,
okay.
something like that. But we're paying. I know that I'm paying tuition when they're
Mhm.
here. I'm paying tuition. I'm buying books. I pay for braces. I pay for
Oh yeah.
contacts.
Oh yeah.
When you're here, I'm buying food. I'm doing so. You're grown-ish, and with
Mm-hmm.
that in mind, I give you leeway to as long as things are on track to do certain things. But at the end of the day, you still subject to what I'm saying because I'm the one supporting your whole lifestyle. Let's face it.
And see, that has been the problem with my daughters. Like, I still pay for everything, but then if I ask them to do something, they don't do it when I ask. Attitude when you do it, and it's only done if they feel like doing it. And that's when I get into a rift when I have to like turn to my husband and I'm like, it's time for you to step in. Like, I
Mm.
need you to open your mouth and let them know because they feel like, well, if even if she doesn't do it for me, we know you're a sucker for us. You'll do it. And it's like, no, I need you to know I back her. You know, like
Mhm.
I back her. If she says do the dishes, if she says clean your room, if she says clean the bathroom, you don't get the credit card to go shopping. You don't get the credit card to do what you want. But that's been our problem because they're like, daddy spoils us. We don't have to clean up. We don't have to do what she wants. We can still get what we want. And it's like I've been battling two people, them and my husband. Like, I understand you love them and I understand you want to spoil them and you still see them as your babies, but I know those girls. You know what I mean? I
That sounds
know the
problematic. Yeah, that
it's
sounds
very problematic.
problematic. And also,
Very
you're trying not only to raise them, but to instill character and
yeah,
certain
yeah.
personality traits
Yeah.
and cleaning your room and doing
Mhm.
what's requested and being cooperative with your parents.
No, girl,
All
I
those
put
are
their
very
dirty
important
bedrooms on
traits.
the internet. I put their dirty bathrooms on the internet. They could care less. They've been
You
like,
put it on the internet? You put it on
I put it on IG, Facebook. I forgot what else. I think it was might have been Snapchat one time. But I was like, okay, this is what I've been telling them. It's the third day because I've always been the type of mother that we did go to therapy, and I would always tell the therapist what I was going through, and I always tell the therapist I have changed. They don't always go to gymnastics like they used to. They are going out with their friends a lot more than they should, but they haven't changed. They're still not being respectful. They're still not cleaning their room. No one's listening to me. I'm the only one changing and no one else is changing. And that was the
consequences. I think that even at 18, 19, 20, there are consequences. If I'm paying for everything you got
yep.
and supporting your lifestyle, and I mean, my kids aren't perfect. Let's get it
Mm-hmm.
clear. They just left to go back to college. I don't feel my home is as clean as it should have been before they left. And I
Okay.
feel that I have to now come back and do all that because I
And
can't
we're not their maids. We're not their maids. We should not have to do that. We should
and
not have to be cleaning up.
I can't hire the people now because they're from South America or whatever. You can't have them all in your house during COVID time. So it's
Heck
me
no.
or them, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
they're not perfect, but I do have consequences. If there are
Mm-hmm.
things you're not doing that you need to be doing, there are going to
Mm-hmm.
be consequences. And I think based on
See,
what
that's
you
the
said,
benefit
you need your
of
husband to
raising
get on a
kids
page.
alone. To me, that's the benefit of raising kids alone. Like, they can't just take the car because you'll say no. But the other parent will be like, oh, just let them take the car, go where they want. They can clean up when they get back, but they never do. They never do. So
Well,
it's like,
perhaps he should clean it instead of you.
and see, that's another thing that doesn't happen either. He
Right.
doesn't clean up after them. He doesn't clean up with them. It's almost like, no, they're spoiled. And I know they're spoiled because I'm the mother. I'm there 24/7. I see what they do. And I know that's called spoiled because right now, if you go in their room, you go in their bathroom, if you go in my kitchen, if you go in the living room, it's not clean. And I'm a neat freak, like I have it bad, you know. So it makes me have to just stay in one spot in my room so I don't see it, so I don't go off, so I don't
Oh,
feel stressed
wow.
out and frustrated because they don't care. No one cares but me. And that's what I had the problem with. If no one cares but me, and I'm the only one that cares, then I think that people should help me out because you don't care. So you should be like, well, if I don't mind it dirty and I don't mind it looking a mess, let me just keep her at peace and give her what she needs. And it's not like that at all.
And
So that's
see,
my,
part of the difference here too is that my kitchen, my family room, living room, all those kinds of things, you're gonna have a problem with me if it's not clean, and
I know.
nobody really wants a problem with me. But
Right.
your room and your bathroom, I
Mm-hmm.
probably let those go more than I should because I don't use your bathroom. Those are
Mm-hmm.
areas where you can close the door. And I actually was talking to my son about this. I feel that really I need to just pull up all those carpets, just redo those rooms, but I'm not doing them till everybody graduates because I'm gonna be coming
Right.
back here with the same behavior. But in the public, the other areas of my home, I will call you out. I will be riding your back. You're gonna have to keep those clean. I'm kind
Right.
of like very organized, so stuff
Mm-hmm.
isn't going to be lying around and
Mm-hmm.
vacuum and sweep and mop because you're going to. Um,
See? And
don't.
that to me sounds so normal what you're saying, but to them it's like a foreign language. It's I literally just went to buy them new bedroom sets after all these years because I felt like you were tearing them up left and right. So I was like, now that you older, I'll buy. And I had a little regret. And this is what I was talking about, earlier about saying no to them, feeling guilty if I say no because they're older. I feel like they should have their own place, but then I don't know if they should because I left home so early that wasn't the right thing to do. I know it wasn't. I shouldn't have left home at 16 and never came back. I mean, I left home at 15 and I never came back, and I had a kid very soon after that. So no, that wasn't the right thing to do. So having a 20-year-old at home, well, come and go because she does go to college, but she has a place in at her college, but she also comes back home, and she's home now. And then having an 18-year-old home because her college is closed down online. So we're not paying for college in her state anymore. I mean, we're not paying for her apartment in her state. So she moved back home to do college online. And I feel like they need a nice bedroom set to go in to, at least to look nice in and put their stuff up. But then I had regrets because I was like, why am I buying this? Shouldn't they be having this in their own place? And shouldn't
I
you know,
think that's
enjoying
probably.
the finer things of life right now. But I don't know because I did everything wrong as an individual. So I don't know if this is partly what parents do. I don't know. That there was no blueprint given to me
Yeah,
saying,
there are no rules. There are no rules. I mean, there are no clear-cut rules. There's no manual, so we're just playing it by ear. I left at 15 too, but that was to college and other stuff.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I think that, well, my daughter's 18 and my
mm-hmm,
son's 20 as well, but their colleges are open. So they
mm-hmm,
go to college, and then I expect them to come back here for every break.
mm-hmm.
That's just what it is.
That was my vision.
In
That was
your
my vision.
situation, I think that it could go, and I'd be curious to what other people think. I think it could go either way. Like they could rent a place with some other college kids and live there instead, or my kids and I had discussed if their colleges didn't reopen, they would stay here and
Mm-hmm,
go online. And until such time as they get a degree, I
mm-hmm,
think I'm okay with that. But I can see it going either way
mm-hmm.
depending on the family dynamics and what works better for the family.
Now, do you think because the 18-year-old college is closed down throughout the whole 2021 year and they're virtual, do you think that she should get a job and help contribute to some of the bills, or do you think it should be more so no, she's still kind of in college, let her do her, focus on her college, and not really indulge in adulthood? Because like I said, there is no blueprint. I don't know. I only went to the community college and to dental school. I didn't go to a university, so my brain doesn't know um or can't perceive the blueprint of what it's like to work, go to school, go to college, a university, and try to be in this world that we live in. I don't know that life. I just only know the life of struggle, survival, and where I am now. And so I'm trying not to impede on their life, but I feel like they should be doing certain things like working and helping paying bills to show them that they can do it outside of this world. You know what I mean? Because how can they fend for themselves if anything happened to my husband and I? What I know my nieces have been put in that same position. They've lost their mother and their fathers. Both nieces lost my sister, and both of them had different dads, and they both lost their dads right before my sister passed away. And they have nothing. They were forced to, it's not like she had a will or anything or left them insurance policies. So they literally had to work, graduate from school, go on in life and fend for themselves. Yes, we did as aunts and uncles support them and help them as much as we could, but they still had to fend for themselves. And I always wonder if anything happened to my husband, oh my God, I don't know what the heck what these kids would do.
So this is what we did. So for me, like I said, I left and went to college, and nobody helped me really.
Mm,
And so I struggled. And then
mhm.
even later
Did
when
you work?
I did. I worked 20 hours a week, but that was part of my financial aid package. And when I went
Oh,
to law school, I did not work, but nobody helped me either. I just racked up a ton of debt. And so
oh,
the conversation that I've had for quite a while with my children is I would never want them to have to live the way I live. But
Mm-mm.
this is the deal. The first year, you do not work. I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna provide you with a stipend, or make sure your dad does it. We're gonna make sure you have money to spend,
Okay.
so that the first year you get that first year to get accustomed to college, get your sea legs, all of that sort of thing. And then moving forward, you're expected to work. I minimize how much you should work. I don't want them working 20 hours, or it's certainly
Right.
not more.
Right.
But my son is a junior. He has worked
Mhm.
since his sophomore year. Freshman
Mhm.
year, he didn't work.
Mhm.
Sophomore year, this year,
Does he give to you or himself?
huh?
Does he give to you with the?
For himself.
He works.
Because
Okay.
if he can take care of his entertainment and stuff like
Okay.
that, then
Okay.
that's the burden off of me
Okay.
anyway. And then I limit how much, because about 12, 14, 15 hours, that's it. I don't
Okay.
want you getting sidetracked, spending time trying to work and make money and
Mhm.
do this and do that. You're there for college. You just
That's
want
right.
some change in your pocket, some money in your pocket to do stuff. So that's the rule that I
Mhm.
established for them well before they ever went, is that your first year you don't work, after that you work, and then that money is your spending money, which I
Okay.
still pay for books, I still pay for tuition and whatever else, and they still call, I need this, I need that, and
Of
that's
course.
yeah,
Of
that's
course.
okay. But by him, my daughter's a freshman, so she's not working right now. But by him taking care of, like, I would do something extra when there was one. We're having a homecoming packet. Can you get that for me, or something like
Yeah.
that? But
Yeah.
mostly he now has the money to do a lot of that stuff himself. And I think it's still a bit of a process for him, because they are suburban kids, and they do have a degree of spoiledness, I would
Mhm.
say. And
Mhm.
so it's a bit of a process getting him to understand, well,
Yeah.
son, you work now, you should do that. You should be able to take care of
Yeah.
that. You should be able to
Yeah.
take care of this. But at least I will tell you, the young man will get up and he will go to work because he likes having that money in his pocket.
And see, that's how my
So
middle
the
child
blame,
is. That's Mia. That's the 20-year-old. She loves work. She will drive from here to Guam to work and make that money. But we got to work on my 18-year-old because she loves money, but she's not
well,
a
she's
hard
a
worker.
freshman too, right?
Right. Now she thinks working for her dad and his Amazon business is enough pocket money for her. But what I'm trying to teach her is actual, you need to be paying your entire cell phone bill if you're living here. You need to contribute to saving money for your business because she wants to, start a clothing line. So it's like I'm trying so hard to install so many things in them and I'm wearing myself down.
It
So
sounds hard. I pay for cell phone bills. I
I
don't
do.
that
I,
even never even occurred to me. They're just on my plan. I just pay for it. I
Mhm.
feel like if they can pay for entertainment and stuff like that, that's a big help to me.
And yeah, okay.
That's just fine. And as long as they're in college and I don't, right now I'm okay, then I
Mhm.
don't ask them to pay rent or utilities or anything. But if they
Mhm.
graduate and get a job, I think I'd be expecting them to have a place somewhere and not
That's
really.
what I was gonna say. Do you have a problem with them living at home after graduation in the adult world, or is it better for them to, stay at home with you, save up, pay down debt, or is it better for you to see them out on their own and doing it like you did it?
I believe in independence, which is why I insisted that each of them go to a university outside of this state, not
Hmm.
around the corner, because you can't grow up with mom around the corner.
That's what I agree with.
I think that we're in a difficult age and stage right now. I
Hmm.
think that if they're able to secure good jobs, or they're
Hmm.
moving on to grad school,
Hmm.
uh, well, let me say this. If they're able to secure good jobs and start their career, I think they should move out and start
I
learning
do.
how to do
I
those
do.
things. I'll help you. I'll help you get some furniture. I'm
Hmm.
here to help, because I
Yep.
don't want you to live the life I lived, where everything I ever had or did, either I got it or I
Yep.
didn't have or do it.
Yep.
But if at the time they graduate and they have that degree, it's a lot going on. If they can't get a job, they have to do a business instead, or any kind of weird stuff. The
Hmm.
home is still available to them, but I don't think they're any more pressed to be up under me either.
I
They there for
totally
freedom
agree.
and independence. Where'd you
I
go?
totally agree.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
So I'm going to try to be flexible with them, but I think that if things go the way we plan, they would just be getting a place. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to get them a car for graduation, and they get a place, and
Mm-hmm.
get you started on I mean, I've been stressing to them since they were very young. After high school, you go to college, you go away. You go away so that you can mature and
Mm-hmm.
grow up. After
Mm-hmm.
that, work for somebody for some amount of time. Then you start a business. You don't
Yeah.
want them to learn the ropes. Then you
Yeah.
start a business. So, we'll see. The best
We'll
laid
see.
plans are just our plans, because you know how parenting is. We don't really know
Oh no. There's
how
no
it's going to
blueprint.
play out.
There's no blueprint. And I truly agree with you on that. And so basically I guess, we've aired a lot of, I wouldn't say it's not grievances, but we've directions. I think we've got out a lot of, directions in which way parenting has gone for us and a lot of other people, because I'm always interested in finding out how someone else does it. Not saying that you could raise your child better or worse or whatever, because I know it's not our fault how they turn out. I know most of these kids have their own brain and they're going to do whatever they want, regardless of how hard we work. But I'm always interested in, just hearing what kids also, I'm not just interested in just the parents. I'm always interested in, you know, hearing two sides of the story. But
So, do you feel that your kids are, even though they maybe aren't doing everything that you would have them do, that
mhm,
given that they've gone to college and they're
mhm.
on that track, that they are pretty much prepared or becoming prepared for adulthood, or you don't see it, you're just not seeing that?
I, I really don't. I'm not sure if I'm just not giving them their credit, but I just don't see it because I feel like their life doesn't seem like there is how my life struggled so much. It seems so much more important. Like every moment of my day was important. Like I didn't just relax. You know what I'm saying? I was always trying to hustle to do something to either make money for my child, keep a roof over our head, to work and make money for us so we could do things, anything, whether it was go on vacation or, send them to private schools or save for college or braces, like you said. I always felt like it was a battle trying to do something important. Now, granted, I just became a grandmother and my son is 31 years old, and he's not in the same city as his or state rather, with his child, but they have a great relationship. The mother and him have a really good working parenting relationship, and I feel like he's got it easy because she's here in
She's
DC, he's
there
in
and he's.
California. So he doesn't know the actual struggle of being up all night long with the deaf ear to make sure you hear if the baby cries, if she gets up out the bed without you knowing, or, whatever. He doesn't have that. He
Right,
comes in, he does come to visit and he does take very good care, but he does not know the ins and
different.
outs of parenting. So
Right.
he thinks it's why I don't see why it was such a big deal and so hard for you. And like,
Really?
yeah, so we
Let
had
him
a
ask
really
his
big discussion.
child's mother why was it such a big deal and so hard for you,
She
because
gets
he now is
she
doing
gets
it by herself. He's
she is
just
a
coming in
single
where he
mom.
can.
She
Yes.
is a single mom, and she also has another baby, but I mean a daughter. She's not a baby, but she's 12, and she gets it. When we talk, she's like, I get it, because when he came to visit, he's like, well, I'll be there in a week, and you'll get a chance to relax. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm still not relaxing. I'm still not getting a break. That doesn't You being here doesn't give me a break and doesn't make me relax. Like people don't get that. We still moms. The kid still wants to be with us. We still feel as parents we have to do something, be there, not because we think you're doing it wrong, but this is just what moms do. So I get it. And she went away and the baby stayed here with us. And the whole time the baby was here, of course, I'm in grandma mode. So it's not like I actually made him, no, the baby has to do it. No, the baby has to go. No, I wasn't, of course not. But
Right.
there is going to come times where I believe he's going to have just him and the baby. And then I think he might get a glimpse into, oh, Oh, I couldn't really sleep. Oh, I couldn't have a glass of wine before I went to bed. Oh, I couldn't stay up all night and watch TV because I had to get up early with the baby when the baby gets up, and the baby's up all day. He doesn't have that yet. So
Okay.
I really wish he did, and I always wanted that for him, but he doesn't have that yet. And with the 20-year-old, my daughter, and the 18-year-old, no, they're not even thinking about children. Thank the
Thank
Lord.
goodness. Yeah, I'm not ready for
Thank the
that. Mm-mm.
Not at all.
So
And
what
I
will it
know for
look
a fact
like
they're not.
with your 18 and your 20-year-old? What will it look like when you feel they're better prepared for adulthood? What are some of the markers, some of the things you're looking to see?
I believe that when they're totally independent of their life, you know, when I don't have to be the responsible one saying, "Where are you?" You know, "What are you doing? Where are you at? You know, where are you going?"
Mm.
They're in their own places. They're paying their own. Because to me, this is just me. I know probably everyone's gonna, jump down my throat. But I
Well,
think when you
that's
have
okay. Don't.
career,
You can have
you know
your
what I
point
mean?
of view.
When you have a career and you have a job and you have a responsibility, not a kid. I'm talking about you have to pay for that rent. You have to pay for those flights. You have to pay for that, water bill. You have to pay for things. You can't play around with your life. You know what I'm saying? You can't be out here hanging with the wrong crowd or doing the wrong thing or just anything. You can't because you have to get up the next day and provide for yourself. I don't feel like they have that. I feel like they feel like I'm throwing it all away, or I can throw it all away. I can do whatever I want because I'm not responsible yet. But I
Mm.
think the day that I see them go, my rent is $5 short. That's a big deal. You know that $5. People be like, it's just $5. Trust me, you don't know that day. You
Mm.
don't know that day. You don't know that day. Oh my gosh, my water, my lights are walk in the house and your lights are off because you took that money and decided to go buy sneakers, or you took that money. You don't know that day
Mm.
because you're not there yet. You can go take your money and buy whatever you want and go wherever you want because I'm doing it all.
So
So
you're
when
looking
you
for
do it
them
all,
to demonstrate more responsibility,
mhm,
and then you'll feel that they're starting to be more prepared for
prepares.
adulthood.
Right. I feel like the fear of life, and I don't know, maybe fear isn't the right or the correct word. Maybe it's more the maturity of life. I feel like will set in when you're responsible for everything you own. You care about the fact that, you bought a blender and you don't want it to rust or be dirty or caked up with something because you left it out and didn't wash it.
Right.
You care that, you don't want to, every single time you take a shower, you have to use a different towel for every part of your body, because you have to continue to wash towels
They don't
every
have to
other
wash
day.
it. Right.
Yeah, no, they don't have to wash it. So I'm washing towels every other day. Every other day, because they have to have a towel for their hair, they have to have a towel for their neck, they have to have a towel for their arms. And it's like, are you kidding me? I'm the one that has to buy the detergent. I'm the one that has to buy the stuff, the fabric softener sheets. I'm the one that has to walk them up and down the stairs and put them away. They don't know that responsibility. So when they do, I feel like they'll be like, how did my mother do it? How on earth did she keep up with everything that went on in the house and have sanity to herself?
Do
They
you
don't.
think that you could start transitioning them? I do. I did hear you loud and clear that they're not
Mhm.
doing the things you're asking and your
At
husband
all.
isn't supporting you. But why are you washing the towels and folding them and putting them upstairs? I mean, they
When
can
I tell you they don't care, I literally tried to go 3 weeks where I said, as long as Antoine and I had our own stash of towels, I don't care what they use. They can use paper towels as far as I'm concerned. They didn't care. I was
so what did
like,
they
they
do?
never,
They just use dirty towels? What did
I
they
don't even
do?
know. I don't even know what they use because all I know is they did not wash one towel. They did not bring any towels downstairs to the laundry room to get washed. And they were just piling up in their rooms. And so then I went to the store. I went to Target and bought 3 packs of washcloths, put them in the closet just to see what happens. They disappeared within like 3 or 4 days, and I didn't see them anymore. I said, "Where are all the washcloths?" I don't know. I didn't have it. I don't know. I don't know. You got, and of course
Girl,
they
that would drive me insane. That
and
is
you think,
not,
and you think,
yeah,
you think,
yeah.
I like literally, and then I'm telling my husband, I say, I'm upset, I'm angry. Why? I don't see the big deal. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, when do you open your mouth and say enough is enough. This woman is being driven crazy and I need her in my life for me. I'm going to put an end to this. It's like there is no middle ground for me because they continue to do what they want when they want. And then I don't get anyone to fight for me. So it's like, well, I might as well fight by myself. And I feel like I want to run away sometimes. Like, I know there's got to be mothers. I saw this on an Oprah one time. That this mother packed up and left. And then Oprah was like, oh, how could you leave your kids? You're so selfish. The audience was like,
She doesn't
you're
have any
selfish.
children. She doesn't know the struggle.
No, and the mother said, so what would you have had me do? Zap out on everybody? And they were like, oh, well, no. But then again, if you felt that way, yeah, maybe you should. Because that's what she did. She packed up. She felt like her adult teen daughters were so selfish. She felt like her husband wasn't there and wasn't putting in the effort to help support her, like discipline in the discipline way. Like, no, you're not going to do this to this woman. She's my wife. I want her to be sane for me when y'all are off in y'all married life. He wasn't there, so she packed up and she left and she met another man and she had another kid and he
Oh,
was
she
there.
went and left. I thought this
She,
was a
no, she packed up her whole.
left.
Never forget this episode because I remember even being a single woman at that time watching this and thinking, because I started off the episode me thinking, well, that is one selfish mother. But by the time she finished talking, something clicked in me like, I get it. I get it. I get how she was like, y'all not driving me crazy no more. I gave y'all everything I had. You won't help me. You won't work with me. My spouse is not participating and telling y'all you doing me wrong. I'm out. And she went away to Florida. I'll never forget the city because she was like, when she went there, the palm trees made her happy. She was happy. She was single for like 3 years there. She didn't even call the kids. She did not call them.
Oh
They
my
contacted her.
goodness.
They
This is a
contacted her
whole
and was like, Mom,
other level.
she checked out. And when they contacted her, I remember her saying, she's saying, y'all were the most selfish, I mean, just ungrateful people I had ever met in my life, and I was done. You were not going to take me out like that. I was going to enjoy some life. And they were like, well, we weren't trying to make you unhappy. But once she was gone, they appreciated her. And that's what one of the daughters did admit. She said, Mom, I'm mature enough to know now, once you moved away, that you did it all and we did not help and we were the problem. The other two were still bitter because they were younger, but the other one had gone off to college. And when she came back to a house that was in disarray. The father, I guess he wasn't hiring a nanny or the maid anymore because mom was the maid and the nanny. So, things weren't in place anymore. And that story always stuck with me. Always stuck with me.
What are some things that, because now I'm just concerned that there's just too much of a stress level, too much of a disconnect. So, or maybe we could think of some things that you can do to help make it better so that you don't feel that
I
you
need
have
to run to
all
Florida.
your stuff and jet up out of there.
And I need to run to Florida. Oh my
Right.
God.
Well,
I was hoping
California.
that would be the end all be all, but okay. No, I really think that unless we can sit down as a family and everyone just says, for this month, we're going to do it your way. And I'm going to support you in your way. And then they see what it's like. It's never going to happen. Because as long as it's, I give up, we've done it your way for 2-3 days, I give up, it's too much for me, then nothing will ever be done.
Oh, they tried it, and then after just a couple days, they give up?
No, they've never tried it. I've never gotten not 24 hours of my day.
Okay.
Ever. If I clean this house up spotless, in 24 hours is back the way they had it. Oh, it's never been crazy. For 1 month, we're going to do it your way. And we're going to see how your mental health is established in 1 month. Because then they would see I'm not always fussing, I'm not always upset, I'm not always moody, because I'm coming home to a clean house, I'm waking up to a clean house, I'm able to maneuver around and do things I got to do in my life without stopping and cleaning up or avoiding, because that's my stigma. Like you said, my living room and my kitchen is my thing. Don't play with me with certain things. But no.
So could you have a conversation with your husband where you say, I know you want to be more lenient and I'm more of a disciplinarian. Let's just pick these 2 chores per week, those being the kitchen and the bathroom, that people are responsible for. And can we agree that if those rooms are not the way they should be, then there are consequences for the girls in terms of what they can do or what will
He
get.
can't do it. He can't stick to something like that
Oh,
because he's afraid of making bad blood with them. He's told me that. He's told me that he doesn't want to cause bad blood with them, and then they're mad at him. And I'm like, what? Why do you even care about that? But somehow in his psyche, that matters to him. Like his daughters being mad at him or feeling some kind of way against him, it matters to him. It doesn't matter to me. They can roll their eyes at me. They can stop speaking to me. They can do whatever they want. Okay. Oh, well, you'll need me before I need you. It doesn't bother me. And, but it bothers him. And I don't even like, I know I pressure him and I say things to him in a derogatory way because I am like, you need to say something to them.
you're
You
over
need to
the
get
top.
on them.
Yeah,
And
you're
at
all the
this,
way up.
I'm all the way up. I'm all the
Mhm.
way up, and he shuts down when that happens. He doesn't even want to talk to me. He don't want to hear it. He doesn't want to communicate. It's like, and it's like, but I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And it's like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. So it's like, I never can get to that point because that's just something he does not want to do with them. He doesn't. He doesn't want to. If they say, Daddy, I need the credit card, he whips it out. It's not, hey, have you done your room yet? Have you cleaned up the bathroom? Are you making sure the living room and dining room straight for your mom? It's never that. And that, to me, that would be the thing that I would do. But the old saying, what I do is not what you do. So
Right.
yeah.
So
So
where do we go from here with it?
um try to hope and see we get some people out there that can maybe give me their opinion. If they have the exact same situation, maybe they can tell me what worked for them, because
Mhm.
what I've done is not working and has not worked for me.
Okay. Yeah,
So these
because
are real life scenarios.
I don't have any insight to that because I can't say you're not going to do this or that. It is getting a little more difficult because they're not as under my control as they used to be. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I do think I probably have pulled back some. I think that, I can be very controlling. This is how it should be. I know this because this is what
You're
works.
controlling when it comes to them.
I used to be.
Okay.
I think that as they started getting closer to the end of high school, I
Mm-hmm.
started pulling back and I started saying to them things like around 16 to both of them, you're at a stage now where the
Mm-hmm.
decisions you make have the potential to impact the rest of your life. I
Amen.
started saying to them, this is your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Help you as much as I can, but there are lessons you have to learn, things you're going to have to go through. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to realize that I had and still have my own journey, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
save you from yours. You have,
Mm-hmm.
so I started impressing upon them,
Mm-hmm.
how important it was to take control of their own life and situations. And I started pulling back, and it wasn't really easy. It wasn't always easy, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm just like, oh,
Do
well.
they respect you more that you pull back, or do you feel like it's the same?
I feel that with my son, we
Mm-hmm.
probably got on a better page. He wasn't exactly doing what I wanted him to do. So
Mm-hmm.
you get a bunch of flack from me if I don't feel that you're on track. He is
Mm-hmm.
he is excelling now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for me to pull back. And I think then it's easier for him to
Oh,
adapt.
okay.
With my daughter, I think we just have been relatively close. And now that
Oh.
she's in college, there's a bit of a separation because she's not here. She's not
Mm-hmm.
tagging along everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that, we're going to find our way to a middle ground.
Okay. Okay.
We actually talked about it over break and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we find a middle ground because I want them to have enough freedom to
Mm-hmm.
feel like they have room to grow and mature. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I still want to maintain, my
Yeah.
connection with them and my ability to help them because at this stage, they're just things they're not going to know at 18 and 20. They're not
No.
going to recognize. They're not going to know how to deal with.
No.
Little friends who are your same age don't know any more than you know. You need to be
Okay. They
to pick
have
up
no
the
insight.
phone.
They
Right.
have no insight.
Absolutely. So I think because my son's been in school, this is his third year,
Mm-hmm.
we're on a track. With my daughter, we
Mm-hmm.
need to find where is that comfort level with enough independence and enough connection for us
Mm-hmm.
both.
Do you miss them, or when they're home? Or you? Because my one of my friends just asked me that when they're home, am I happy that they're here, or was I more happy when they were away? Excuse me. And I was like, I think I enjoyed my peace for the moments that I had. I think there was moments where I was in here and I was just like, because it
Right.
was the first time in my life. In my life, like I said, I was a young mother. It was the first time in my life that I had been alone, and it felt great. I didn't know it was gonna feel good. I thought I was gonna be traumatized by being an empty nester, but no, I wasn't.
So I had my kids midlife in my 30s.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
I
okay.
do know what it was like to
Hmm.
do whatever you want, when you want, all.
Oh,
And so when my son left to college, my daughter was still here. So he was gone, but I was still a mom. There's still somebody seeing every move,
oh
all.
yeah.
So when she left in the fall, it was like I thought I was gonna be crying and sad. I mean, I was
See?
sad to see her go. I was
Oh
sad
yeah.
to see him go, but it was like, oh my God, I can just wake up,
Breathe.
go sleep, go, leave, come back.
You didn't realize we were under structure too, right?
it was very freeing. But
Yeah.
this time around, they just really left. I feel a little, ooh, but I'm gonna live.
Oh yeah.
It was harder this time, but the first time, I mean, it was harder when they left, but
Hmm.
after they were gone, I was like, whoa,
Yes.
voila, look at
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Now, this time, I already had those months of freedom.
Hmm.
So it's not as
Hmm.
whatever as it was before. I know that I felt like, oh man, they're gone and when they're going to come back. But I think that, I'm going to do a little traveling and have a girlfriend come up and
Oh yeah.
beginning to enjoy those things. That freedom will take over again and allow me not to miss them as much. But I certainly miss them. And I was glad when they were here.
Okay. That sounds fair enough. That
Yeah.
sounds fair enough. At least I know now that the next go around, when this world goes back to normal, that I will appreciate the time I was alone a little bit more and use it more wisely. And then when they come around, I'll be like, oh, I appreciate y'all here.
And it's different for you because they're both at home. Well, I
Yeah.
guess one is in and out, but your 18-year-old is at home. You're not an empty
Yeah.
nester anymore. You're
No.
a mom. You're back to
Yeah.
being mom.
Yes. And it doesn't seem like she's mad about that.
She's not mad about being home.
Yeah. It
She
doesn't
still
seem like.
has a lot of friends around who,
Oh yeah.
that's
She
the
has her
thing.
friends are all here. She loves her friends. Her friends love her. So yeah, it didn't yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
go as well as I thought it should. I thought she was gonna be here for a little while and get sick of me and be like, okay, I'm going back to San Diego. I'm just gonna have to get a job and get an apartment with some roommates. But
She was
no.
all the way in San Diego. Your other
Yeah.
daughter's in California as well?
No, she's out in West Virginia.
Okay, and then your
Yeah.
son's in California.
And my son is in LA. Well, Glendale, which is right outside of LA. So yeah, they were two on the West Coast and one was here. But the one that's in West Virginia, she's headed to the West Coast when everything opens back up. But because of COVID,
She's gonna
she is
switch her university.
going to switch. Yeah, she
Boy,
wanted
they
to
love
graduate. Yeah,
California, huh?
yeah, they love it. They love it. We spent a lot of time there, and I love it too. I do think eventually I will be moving there, but just not as soon as I thought I was because the world changed on me and kind of set me off course.
Yeah, everything flipped.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
everything flipped. It seemed like just when I started figuring it out and getting ready to make moves that were beneficial to me, this
Mhm.
happened. So it's kind of like I got some questions for the universe. Like, really? Really?
But I
I
think
need
that typically things work out the way they need to work out. And
supposedly.
fortunately, you didn't go out there and then everything flipped.
That is true. No,
You
that is true because I need to start looking at life like that because I haven't stopped to say that would have been to me the worst case scenario if I had started out there and things were picking up and then things shut down. Yeah, I'm still on level ground here. So you're right.
Yeah, so at least you are still in a safe and comfortable environment, and then you can plan. And when things happen, you can make your move at that time. Yeah.
You're right about that. So I am so glad we had this talk. So glad we did this. This is so therapeutic for me. I really am like proud that we've come together to do this, and I love you for it. And I think that the world, the universe, women alone, I mean, I think parents will need this, but we as women, we got to have girlfriends. And
Yes.
I definitely wanted this to be a girlfriend thing, you know? So I can't wait till the platform opens up where we can actually have questions and comments and live feeds. So I'm so
I'm
happy to
looking
get this off.
forward to that too. And I'm so thrilled that we actually came together and we're actually doing it. And one
Yes.
thing I love about what you said is that we're not only looking for the parental input, but it's important for the young adults to call
Oh, yeah.
in and give us their side because they can open
Oh,
our minds up to different ways of thinking about things and to points that we need to bring out that other parents may need to know or even we
oh,
may
yeah.
need to know. So I think that's critical. I'm really glad you brought that out. And
Mhm.
I'm really happy we're doing this.
Me
I
too.
really am.
Me too. I'm looking forward to the next episode already.
Me
So
too.
I guess that is our wrap up in our first episode of Parenting with Kimm and Torra. And
Yes,
of course, I am Torra,
I am Kim.
and we
And we,
will be seeing you.
yes, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Please tune in for our next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tora. Talk
Good
to you.
night.
Good night.